Right, so here's my story of Bitcoin, and this is not financial advice. So I want people to understand what's going on right now. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of people scared. What that does, fear, is it makes people make irrational decisions. So, okay, so like for me, I might have said this before, but currently I'm unemployed, okay? I'm unemployed. It looks like we're facing a recession, and I'm looking at myself, my assets, and I'm thinking to myself, there's some assets I'm fine. I don't need to sell it all. Like, oh, I'm gonna get scared and sell it all. No, like this is what I was scared about a few weeks ago. I was sitting there high as fuck. I was smoking so much weed, and this is what I was seeing. I probably said this before. I probably need cash in a couple months. To pay my bills. So what happened was I over leveraged myself. I had the same fear, the same urge came at me when it was 93,000 with Bitcoin. Okay, it was 93,000, and I was thinking to myself, "Fuck this! I don't need this Bitcoin. Not all of it, some of it." Okay, I sold like a good chunk of Bitcoin. Not all of my shit, but a good chunk, so I have that cash, so I'll be able to pay my bills for the next few months at least, and see what the hell happens. So I don't want to. So what I was afraid of, this is what I was afraid of. I was afraid that if I left that Bitcoin in there, if I left that asset in there, because okay, I'm gonna roll back. I sold at 93. About a week later or something like that, I was feeling fine. A week later, Trump announces the Bitcoin reserve. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on right here? And I'm like, okay, I'm going back in. Like, this shit's gonna pop off. And lo and behold, it started going down. Dude, I think that Bitcoin went, when I got back in, it was like 85. When I got back in, it was 85. And then I seen it started sliding to like 82. And I'm like, fuck. So I kind of like thought about things for a couple days. I seen it creeping back up to like 84, 83. I sold it around, and then I sold it like 83. So I took a little bit of a loss. Anyway. So people were just distracting me, man. So I took it a little bit of a loss. But I need that cash. If Warren Buffett is sitting on the sidelines with $3 billion, over $300 billion in cash right now. He's doing that for a reason. He did that for a reason, because he's seen this coming. Everybody's seen this coming. Everybody's seen a correction coming. I'm thinking, see, I'm not in the stock market. Again, this isn't financial advice. I'm not in the stock market. I didn't feel, I've done stock market. I know how to trade. I know how to buy, all that shit. I did okay, and I made some money in it. I lost some money kind of purposely. Didn't mean to, I didn't want to, but I wanted to buy GameStop. I kind of wanted to get in, and I got hit holding the bag. So, what did I say? Got hit holding the bag. Anyway, so like, what I was seeing, this is what I was seeing. I was seeing like that Bitcoin that I had invested, like $5,000. I had $5,000 invested in Bitcoin. I'm thinking, fuck, I put too much back in. I'm like, I was high, and I'm like, maybe I can't. It was a little bit too much. I was thinking like, I can hold out like a certain amount, but I was pushing it like a little bit too much. And this is what fucking scared me. I seen my other assets, so I'm like, I'm not touching that. I don't have to touch it right now. I don't have to worry about it. Maybe I have to sell it all in the future. And maybe that's what happens. But what I was seeing is I'm probably gonna need that money that's sitting there that's like $5,000 in Bitcoin. And I can see it, I can kind of see it, and I'm fucking high. I can kind of see it like, it just felt like it was like so unsecure. I'm looking at my other assets of Bitcoin, I'm like, that's pretty secure. Because I'm not gonna sell that. But what I was thinking is, I'm going to need that money. I'm gonna need that $5,000. And it's better instead of it just sitting a bit, because I was like, oh man, this shit's gonna pop off. That's why I went back in. I'm like, this shit's gonna skyrocket. This is what we've been waiting for. And I'm like, it's too much of a risk. It just seemed like a high risk. It didn't feel secure. That $5,000 did not feel secure. So I could have left it in Bitcoin. And then, I don't know, next month or something like that, bills are due. I'm out of cash. You know, I'm about to move. To like a few states away. Don't have a job. Don't have any type of income. And I was thinking, man, I'm probably gonna need it. But that would suck to need it. Because you know, if I don't get a job right away, where I'm going, it might take a couple months to get a job. Well, I need to keep paying my bills, and if I don't have any income, what happens? I get tapped out. So like, instead of selling that Bitcoin at $5,000, you know, which I would have probably, if it kept dropping, like Bitcoin can drop, it could, you know, I think the low is probably going to be 30, 50,000, 50,000, 30,000 or some shit like that. If it does go that low. And I was thinking to myself, man, I'm going to have to get into the other assets of Bitcoin that I have that I don't want to sell. And it's like, I'm kind of getting squeezed. Like, I'm going to have to, like, I can keep the value I have in cash. It's pretty stable in cash right now, because cash is very fucking stable. Or I can risk it. And it just felt so risky. So I would have had, if I would have, like, I don't know, Bitcoin could blow up. It could still blow up. Who the hell knows? But what I'm saying is, I need the money. I don't have any type of income in a couple of months or something like that. And instead of like, let's say I need $5,000 or something like that. Well, that means I have to take more value out of my Bitcoin, sell more of it to get to that 5,000, instead of it selling it when I did. So that makes me feel a little bit more secure. Like, I feel pretty confident right now. I feel pretty, like I said, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to sell all my fucking Bitcoin. Now I'm strapped pretty fucking heavily with fucking debt, like a lot of people in the working class. But I do have access to offset a little bit. But I need cash to be able to pay my bills, obviously. So, like, that's a conundrum I was feeling kind of like I was gonna get squeezed out. Like they were gonna squeeze more of my Bitcoin out of me. Instead of selling, that just say like the 5,000 of Bitcoin was probably like, I don't know, like 0.05 Bitcoin. I would have to sell, like, when it came up, you know, maybe I have to sell 0.1 Bitcoin. So like, there's more value coming out. I have less Bitcoin because of that. I learned, like, if you get into this game, you have to make sure you have enough money to be able to cover your assets. If you leverage debt, and I've leveraged debt, I'm not gonna lie, I've leveraged debt. I've leveraged my own debt to try to get assets. I use stimulus and stuff like that as well, but a lot of people leverage themselves a little bit too much because they get greedy so they can get more Bitcoin. And then like when it drops and they're like don't have the cash to be able to pay their bills, pay the debt, you're not supposed to leverage the debt, especially credit card debt, man. It's probably like the worst thing, but like that's what I had access to, you know what I mean? So I was like, I want this asset. I think it's a good asset, and it has been a good performing asset. The best performing asset, because I think it's a once in a generational, once in a lifetime type of asset. That's how I view Bitcoin. And I also told my kid, if Bitcoin was to pop off right now, we'll probably never be able to get this, be able to have this much again. So like, I have people tell me just sell my assets and pay my debt off. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. Unless I absolutely have to, then I'm not going to. So, a lot of people are really scared in the market, and I understand, but like, you shouldn't be in this game if you're not strong. You got to be smart. You have to understand. You have to be paying attention. I got bamboozled because I had my assets in BlockFi, and I kind of just like stopped paying attention. And a risky, something very risky, man. I was making a lot of APR, and all of a sudden, the rug got pulled, and FTX, it was a Ponzi scheme. There's Ponzi schemes out there. You have to be careful. So people get too greedy, they over leverage themselves, and then when the stock drops or the Bitcoin drops and they need that cash, that means they'll have to give up more value of themselves to be able to pay the bills or whatever. So like, yeah, there's a lot of people freaking out right now, which, like, what happened to me is I got in at Bitcoin initially at 17 grand, okay? I seen it go up to 66 grand, and then it went down to 17 or 16 grand, like within like a year or something like this. This is in 2021. And I was paying attention to Bitcoin every fucking day, man. Listen to content creators, doing all this stuff every single day. And then I was just like, I just said, I'm done. I had it stored away. It's secure. I just said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just stop looking at it. Stop thinking about it. I just left it there. Just kept moving on with my life. Didn't think about it. And then lo and behold, guess what happened? Well, Trump got elected. Because we didn't know. If Trump didn't get elected, I didn't want to go too far into Bitcoin, but I wanted to have access to it, and I wanted more. But like, I had to be smart. About it. I couldn't do too much. Kind of did a little bit too much, I feel like, but it is what it is. And so like, a couple years went by, and then all of a sudden the thing's popping off again, man. It starts going up from 30 grand, it's just kind of being boring or whatever. I'm not really paying attention. And it starts going, I'm starting to pay attention as soon as Trump gets elected, because like it's going up like $10,000 in a week or something. I'm like, dang, it just kept like going up. With all the talk about like Bitcoin reserves and stuff like that. I'm like, no, man, there's only so much Bitcoin you can out there. There's only so much. The more people that have Bitcoin, the higher the price is going to be, because you can't get the Bitcoin. People want the Bitcoin. You have to pay high prices because there's a supply shock. So tomorrow, I guess the futures, they're talking about all over at X right now that futures for tomorrow, the stocks are about to take another hit. They're calling it a Black Monday, the third day in a row where we're going to have a huge correction, another drop, and people are just like losing it. When it's just like, dude, put your head down, keep moving forward. It's not like this is going to be like a permanent thing, unless like you need to, as long as you got income coming in, like why are you worried about your portfolio? Like, unless you're about to retire or something like that. But like these rich people who have access to all these like highly intelligent people. Mostly, like, if you look at, like, the stock market is owned. Yes, there's 61% of Americans have stocks, but like 88% of the stock market is owned by the top 10% of people. Okay, so like, when you have a whale like Warren Buffett holding a big stockpile of cash, and you're ignoring that, and you know that we printed out all this money, especially these people who are investing, like, they should be paying attention to this stuff. We printed out all this money. We haven't technically had a recession, even though, like, for me, I felt like I've been in a recession for years now, but we're technically not in a recession. I say we're in a recession because I feel like I'm in a recession. I feel like we're in a recession. The working class, we feel like we've been in a recession. You know, we've only been able to pay our bills and that's it. That's what it feels like. So, like, I think there's probably going to be a lot of people that panic sell. And they might have to, because they over leverage themselves, margin calls and all that. And it's unfortunate, but like, we needed a correction. There's too much fake money in the system, too much fake money in there. It was overbloated. The stock market was completely overbloated. And by the way, the stock market is not the economy. It is not the economy. So, not, you know, I would be just if you're in this, if you're in like if you're panicking, like, try to be rational, try to be careful, definitely try to be careful, try not to make any panic decisions. And that's how I was feeling, you know, about a month ago when I initially first sold my Bitcoin. That's how I felt. I felt like this was coming. I felt like Bitcoin was too high. I felt like there's like, I felt like we don't have, like, people weren't getting into it, other countries weren't getting into it, the rich people weren't getting into it, the price isn't going up because people aren't getting into it. So, like, I started feeling that fear that I need to sell because I need this cash. I need this cash. So, and I was correct. I was correct in that assessment. Like I said, I got back in it, and then I ended up selling it again at a little bit of a loss. I sold a little bit of a loss because I felt more confident that I'll take a little bit of a hit with that loss. I'll probably be able to, when I claim capital gains tax, when I gotta pay that, I can claim the loss, like a little bit of that loss against the capital gain, because I lost. That's what you can do. Talk to your financial advisors, stuff like that. But, like, it just felt like I needed to feel secure. So I felt like I needed to have cash. I needed to have a stockpile of cash. I needed to have a lot of cash. So that's why I did that. And now, right now, I'm feeling, even though I have like a ton of debt, I don't have a really good credit score, I feel pretty confident right now in my finances. And I don't have any type of income coming in. I feel pretty confident in my finances. The only thing that I'm really worried about is like getting a place, and then like getting a job. But like, there's a lot of jobs made last month, and this economy is kind of weird. I don't know. We might not have hit a recession. I think that we kind of hit something. Maybe the recession will just hit like the rich people. That would be cool. If the recession just hit the rich people, and then just like the working class, we were fine. Just kind of like, it's kind of normal, like it has been. But the rich people are like redistributing their wealth. There's a lot of fear. There's 50 countries that have called Trump on the tariffs. 50 countries. He says he's not going to take the tariffs down right now. But they're like, he said they're really nice. They're being really nice because they want to take, they've been taking advantage of them. I think that Wouldn't it be crazy if Gen Z and the working class got some relief out of this, and like the rich people and the boomers who have been living high on the hog the whole time? Hey, I'm not saying every boomer is like, some boomers like were really irresponsible with their money and are completely relying on Social Security, which is absolutely horrible. So yeah, don't rely on Social Security for the future. That is oh, the Republicans are going to take Social Security. The Social Security was going to end anyway because we're going to go through hyperinflation. We are going to go through hyperinflation no matter what. There is no stopping this train. We have too much debt. God, I hate that ghetto shit. We have too much debt, and we will never be able to pay off those trillions. $136 trillion, we will never be able to pay that off. The only way we're gonna, like, what's gonna happen is we're gonna have baby boomers start retiring in mass. Then they're gonna start collecting their Social Security, and our balanced budget, our budget's gonna go from like $6 trillion a year to like 15 trillion a year. So to cover that 15 trillion, we're gonna have to print money. What happened when we printed 10 trillion a couple years ago? What happened? Well, that's what happened. Okay, let's say that we do that again. Okay, we're fine. Okay, we're okay for that year. Well, what happens in the next year when another 10 trillion comes? Like, oh, crap, we got to pay this 10 trillion, so we got to make sure we can pay these people. We have to reform the system. We have to reform Social Security. We got to reform welfare. We got to reform these systems. And that's what we couldn't. The Democrats want to sit here and go business as usual, and all they were doing is putting us on a higher cliff until we go boom and have a huge crash. Probably go into some like really bad depression. Probably the end of civilization, honestly, because that probably would have crashed America. And then if America fails, every other country will economically fail too, because they rely on our dollar. They back their currencies with our dollar. Our dollar is king. And if our dollar fails, which is going to fail at some point, in the next 5-10 years, our dollar will fail. Unless there's like what Trump is having to do with like we have to go through pain and suffering to try to alleviate some of this debt. But yeah, I'm almost home, and definitely like be careful and expect more pain and suffering, and just try to, live your life, try to make your money and pay your bills and position yourself correctly. There could be layoffs, but there could be job openings as well. There will be inflation on things, and people like in my level understand that they don't need to buy everything new, especially coming up. It's like, why would I buy this thing from China that costs $100 when I can just buy it used from like a regular person for way cheaper? And yeah, people said, well, the used thing's gonna go up. Well, yeah, but in the private sector, in order to sell something, you have to find somebody that's going to buy it at the price that you want. Well, if you have to sell it, then you're going to want to negotiate for selling a little bit less to get that money that you wanted, what you need. It just depends on the other person, and that's why negotiations are huge. So like you don't negotiate going to a store and buying new stuff. No, you can negotiate from somebody on Marketplace, eBay, places like this. What is the other thing where people have their stuff on their lawns and they sell? Yard sales. So yeah, like, just if you need a brand new iPhone, that's your choice. You can pay for that until like things kind of calm down and we can have American-made stuff. American-made iPhones that are cheaper than the ones from China. So that'll be it.